California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Carolyn and Jerry Shaffer. They are the proprietors of the Fandango Olive Oil Company, as well as members of the California Olive Oil Council. We've been speaking all year about the importance of agriculture in our state, the challenges facing agriculture as a result of the drought. Before we talk about the tasty olive oil you brought and the importance of olives to ag, how are you doing in terms of the drought, I must ask?
Well, I think where we are in Paso Robles.
Right, in Paso Robles, in San Luis Obispo County.
Yeah, we're on the west side of Paso, and luckily our well is doing just fine.
Right.
I think most of the problems on the east side, where the Paso Robles Basin is, and there's a lot of vineyards in that area, and they have to be very careful about the water usage.
And you mentioned vineyards, and I've learned that grapes are very thirsty. And you taught me olives not quite as thirsty. Is that fair, Carolyn?
That's correct. Once olive trees are established, they take much less water than do vines.
Right.
So, in fact, right now, because we're getting ready to harvest in a week,
right,
we are in deficit water mode.
Which means
that we withhold water totally from our trees so that we can ramp up the oil.
Explain, because this is fascinating to me. It would seem to be counterintuitive. You'd think the more water, the more oil, it becomes more mature, but that's not the case.
No, in fact, it's just the opposite.
Explain.
By withholding the water, it increases the oil yield, which is what you want when you're producing olive oil, and it actually enhances the flavor. It brings out the flavor. Well, I know it sounds like it'd be the opposite, but it actually attributes a better flavor of the oil, and that's what you want when you're producing olive oil.
And you said to me it's causing some stress with the olive.
It does. It stresses the olive, and it makes it kind of produce, it fights, and it produces more oil, and that's what you want.
So if you were growing, and I know as a child you used to grow table olives.
That's correct.
You would not engage in deficit water?
No, you would not for table olives, but you do that for oil olives.
It's interesting because, as I mentioned to you, I love olive oil. I'm not a huge fan of table olives. Could it be because of what you've just described?
It could very well be. It could be that.
Because you've added the flavor by stressing them out?
That's correct.
You can kind of correlate it with wine grapes versus table grapes. Table grapes are big, plump, juicy, and the wine grapes, they do the same thing.
They hold back water.
Stress them out at the end, and then
interesting.
Intensify the flavor, and that's what they're looking for.
So how is the olive oil industry in California doing? Is it considered one of the stronger regions for olive oil? Talk to us about the California Olive Oil Council and what's happening with it.
Well, California olive oil producers only produce 3% of the usage in the United States. Rest of it is imported. So
so it's not domestic. It's coming from the Middle East or India or China or
Spain, Italy, Tunisia, Morocco.
Oh, so it's I was way off.
Australia's coming on strong. And even in South America.
So when you say 3% comes from California, other percentages come from other states?
No.
Really California's it?
Pretty much. Texas is doing a little bit. A little bit in Oregon, but not much.
Georgia.
Why is that?
We have the perfect weather in California. They don't like humidity, and they don't like cold. They'll take the heat, but they won't take the frost.
Okay, I want to talk about your olive oils as an example. And while I'll talk about it, actually, I'm going to be quiet and taste. And I want you, either of you, maybe we'll start with Carolyn, to tell us about your Elegante Fandango olive oil, which is organic, by the way, because it's done well.
It has done very well. Our Elegante is our late harvest Arbequina being a Spanish varietal. And by late harvest, it does not necessarily for us mean the time of the harvest. It means the ripeness of the olives. And so this is harvested when the olives are very ripe. and it gives us the really buttery, nutty flavor, and yet it still has that nice peppery finish on the back palate as you're tasting.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, it's very buttery.
It is.
Which makes it so flavorful. I taste the nuts, and yet I still have that sense of that rich, dynamic flavor that is the olive.
It is,
Right.
and it's very fresh. And one of the reasons that it maintains its freshness is we bottle the oil on an ad-needed basis. A lot of growers only bottle maybe once or twice a year. And because we have our own bottling facility,
Right.
certified organic bottling facility on site, we're able to bottle in small batches on an ad-needed basis. So that helps preserve the freshness.
And apparently your colleagues agree with me that this is incredibly flavorful. Tell us about just a few of the awards that the Elegante Fandango olive oil won.
Well, this particular Elegante was kind of our medal hog this year.
Clearly.
We won 5 gold medals, and we won a best of class, and that was at YOLO competition, Napa Valley competition, Central Coast competition, and also the California Olive Oil competition, council competition as well.
But I guess second place, at least at Fandango, goes to your Fiesta blend,
Our Fiesta
which
blend.
won a couple of awards as well.
It did. It won also best in class. In order to get a best in class, you have to, of course, win a gold medal first, and then the best of class is the best in that particular class.
And it won best in class at
YOLO.
YOLO, okay.
At YOLO competition as well. So our oils did very well this year,
Right.
and very consistent medal winners every year. So we're
and then
proud
you
of
have your
that.
delegate blend, which is a nice, explain it, Jerry, kind of a...
It's more of an everyday
Right.
oil where you would use it for adding when you want to enhance the flavor
Sure.
of food rather than add flavor.
Well stated.
So because it's kind of mild and
Right.
It does very well. It's a great oil.
I think it's fair to say that over the last couple of decades, olive oil has really taken off in terms of awareness and popularity. We recently met another guest on California Edition. She works in heart health. And when she met you, the first thing she said was, I tell all my patients to eat olive oil, to use olive oil. So talk to us about the health benefits of olive oil.
Well, olive oil is becoming known as a very heart-healthy substitute for butter.
Right.
And a lot of our consumers come to us for that reason. They've either had maybe an episode, a health episode,
Right.
and their doctors have recommended olive oil, or they're just becoming aware of the healthy proprietaries of olive oil. For instance, people are putting olive oil on their popcorn instead of butter.
Yes.
So they're finding a lot of healthy uses for it.
And we're in San Luis Obispo today, and they have a Thursday night, a farmer's market, of course. And I was walking by another booth focused on olive oil. They had a green apple olive oil. I mean, the olive oils have really taken on just a multitude of flavors. And so you, as a child, your family was working in olives. Now, on the other end, you're working in olive oil. Have you really seen and are you aware of the tremendous spike in popularity?
Oh, yes, definitely. We even have mothers with small children that come to our pourings, and little infant, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and they say, I want to taste too. And I'm blown away that they're being educated at such a young age, and I'm just tickled pink that these small children are into olive oil.
And it must be a treat for you, given that you worked in olives as a child. You and Jerry got together. You're now working in olive oil in later years. And I just congratulate you on your tremendous successes. And thank you for being a representative of the California Olive Oil Council. We know it's been a tough year for ag, but I'm glad to hear that at least as it relates to olive oil, things are looking pretty good, pretty A-OK in California. Okay, their names are Carolyn and Jerry Shaffer. My name is Brad Pomerance, and this is California Edition.